Ladies and gentlemen, dear followers, we gather today to discuss a force so pervasive, so integrated into the fabric of our existence, that we often forget it is a human construction with a history, a set of objectives, and a profound impact on the future of our societies. I am, of course, talking about the media. To understand where we stand today, we must first look back. The history of media is not merely a timeline of technological inventions, but a story of shifting power. For centuries, the mass media, newspapers, radio, and then broadcast television, operated as powerful gatekeepers. They were the established fourth estate, built on a foundation of scarcity. The infrastructure required, printing presses, broadcast towers, licensing, was immense, creating natural monopolies. In the mid-20th century, a handful of editors and network executives held the power to decide what the public would know, discuss, and debate. They were the filters through which information flowed, and their model was a one-way broadcast, from the few to the many. However, as the academic literature shows, this traditional model has been radically disrupted. We're living through a media transformation as consequential as the invention of the printing press itself. The catalyst was not a change in ideology, but a collapse in the cost of transmitting data. Between 2010 and 2020, the cost of mobile data plummeted by roughly 95%. The smartphone became ubiquitous, and suddenly, the ability to distribute information to millions was no longer a privilege of the wealthy institutions. It was in the pocket of every citizen. This brings us to the most recent and profound changes. We have moved from a world of mass media to one of digital media, and now to a creator economy. The lines between producer and consumer have blurred. As one expert from Harvard put it, in today's landscape, your cousin may be more powerful than the editor of the New York Times. Young people in particular inhabit a different information universe. They don't watch the evening news, they find it on YouTube, TikTok, or through influencers who have built audiences that rival legacy news organizations. This fragmentation has created an information emergency, where shared points of reference are vanishing, making it harder for societies to agree not just on solutions, but even on basic facts. Given this seismic shift, we must ask, why is media so important? What are its core objectives? The importance of media to a functioning society cannot be overstated. Sociologists identify several key functions that media perform. First, it is our collective watchdog. A free press scrutinizes the actions of those in power, exposing incompetence, corruption, and abuse, thereby holding institutions accountable. Second, it serves as a civic forum. It provides the public square where ideas are exchanged, preferences are articulated, and debates are held, a space essential for a deliberative democracy. Third, it acts as an agenda setter, signaling the issues that require society's attention and forcing a response from our leaders. Finally, it is an agent of socialization and education, transmitting culture, norms, and knowledge from one generation to the next. Therefore, the objectives of media are lofty: to inform, to empower, to create an informed citizenry capable of self-governance. They aim to provide a representation of reality, using signs and symbols to bring the wider world into our lives. However, this power has a profound positive and negative side. On the positive side, digital media has democratized content creation. Voices that were historically marginalized or excluded from mainstream platforms can now find an audience. We see this in the way independent podcasters and digital creators have broken major stories that traditional outlets ignored for years. A striking example is the case of Jeffrey Epstein, where sustained attention from alternative media played a major role in forcing authorities to act, revealing how mainstream media sometimes protect the powerful on whom they depend for access. Furthermore, research indicates that social media can foster positive social behaviors. Studies have shown its potential to increase tolerance among young users, promote community peace by encouraging constructive dialogue, and enhance online ethical awareness regarding respectful and transparent communication. But the negative side is equally potent and in many ways defines our current crisis. The business model of the attention economy rewards the extreme. As a recent commentary noted, negativity might grab attention, but it doesn't solve problems. Algorithms are designed to serve us content that provokes outrage and emotional spikes because that keeps us engaged. This has led to a news landscape overwhelmingly dominated by conflict and pessimism, creating a deeply distorted picture of reality. This distortion is the breeding ground for the two most significant issues plaguing modern media: misinformation and disinformation. The modern information environment makes it harder than ever to separate fact from fiction. Misinformation, false information shared without harmful intent, and disinformation, deliberately fabricated and spread to deceive, travel at lightning speed. However, the most insidious effect of fake news is not just that it might convince someone of a falsehood. Groundbreaking research from political science suggests a more dangerous outcome: media skepticism. Even when a piece of fake news is so absurd that no one believes it, its very existence in the information ecosystem erodes trust. When people are constantly told that the media is full of lies, they begin to doubt everything. This creates an epistemic crisis where citizens can no longer discern truth from falsehood. As a result, they may ignore vital information and make decisions based on ignorance, which can be exploited by malicious political actors who benefit from a cynical and uninformed public. This leads us to the other major issues. We see the rise of online media bias and partisanship. Research across EU member states shows that while social media can stimulate participation, a highly partisan online environment is negatively correlated with democratic participation. It can demotivate citizens or push them into polarized echo chambers, accelerating social divisions and weakening democratic institutions. We are also witnessing the decline of local news, as advertising revenue has been sucked up by tech giants like Google and Facebook, leaving communities without the critical scrutiny that hold local authorities accountable. All of these issues force us to confront the central question: what is the relationship between media, democracy, and the development of countries? The relationship is symbiotic. A healthy democracy requires a healthy media. The press acts as the vital link between the governors and the governed. It enables citizens to make the informed choices that are the bloodline of democratic participation. When the media is free and independent, it promotes accountability and transparency, which are essential for good governance and, consequently, for national development. On the contrary, when the media is biased, mistrusted, or controlled, democracy suffers. Polarization increases, cynicism takes hold, and the common ground required for collective problem-solving disappears. We see this in the contrast between different regions. For instance, studies note that in northern and western EU states, online media correlates with civic mobilization, whereas in some eastern states, partisanship in media has contributed to the weakening of democratic mechanisms. On the other hand, a vibrant media sector is also an engine for economic development. Nations are recognizing this. Saudi Arabia's Vision 2030, for example, is investing heavily in its media sector, aiming to boost its GDP contribution and create jobs, recognizing media and entertainment as key drivers of a diversified, knowledge-based economy. A developed media ecosystem signals a modern, dynamic society. In conclusion, we stand at a crossroads. The old gatekeepers have fallen, and the new information ecosystem, for all its democratic potential, is fractured and vulnerable to manipulation. We are all now participants in a vast experiment, living in a time when information and attention are the battlefields of this century. The solution does not lie in nostalgia for a past that is gone. It lies in recognizing our shared responsibility. We must support high-quality journalism that provides context and scrutiny. We must be aware of the algorithmic forces shaping our perceptions. And as citizens of a digital age, we must cultivate our own critical thinking, our own media mindfulness to navigate this complex world. For if we lose the ability to agree on a shared reality, we lose the ability to govern ourselves. The stakes, therefore, could not be higher. Thank you.